The big white house sat silent at the end of the long driveway, a place that once echoed with laughter and life, now just a hollow shell. Alexander Reed, a man who looked every bit the part of success in his crisp pink shirt and tailored black pants, sat slumped on the porch steps, his shoulders shaking and hands trembling like leaves in the wind. The only sound was the faint creak of the wooden boards beneath him. Before him rested a small, polished wooden coffin. Inside it, wrapped gently in a pale blanket, lay the fragile body of his newborn son. His miracle, his hope, now just a tiny stillness. Alexander was only 33, a self-made millionaire who had built one of the most powerful real estate firms in the city in just a few years. Yet, none of that mattered. Not anymore. 3 days ago had been the day he and his wife, Clara, had waited for their entire lives. After years of heartbreak, 2 miscarriages, endless tears, and prayers whispered into the night, this was supposed to be their miracle. The moment, everything changed, but then the nightmare struck. Complications in the delivery, frantic doctors rushing in and out of the operating room, and Alexander pacing the sterile hospital hallway like a man losing his mind. When the doctor finally came out, his face told the story before words even reached his lips. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Reed," the doctor said quietly, his voice barely above a whisper. "Your wife, she didn't make it." The ground gave way beneath Alexander. His knees buckled, the hallway spinning around him like a cruel joke. And then the question, barely a breath. "And the baby?" The doctor hesitated, eyes heavy with the weight of grief. "He was born, but only for a few moments. We did everything we could." Alexander's world shattered. Wife gone, child gone, torn from him in the cruelest of moments. The funeral was arranged within days, but the thought of a cold room, strangers handling the only piece of Clara left in this world, was unbearable. He insisted, "I want him home. One last time." So now, on the very porch where Clara used to rock in the evenings, the tiny coffin sat still, a reminder of everything lost. Alexander stared at the lifeless form, heart numb and mind racing with emptiness. What was the point of all the money, the deals, the properties? Without Clara, without their child, it was meaningless. His fingers rubbed over his face, eyes burning with tears he refused to shed. He kept replaying Clara's last words, whispered as she was wheeled away. "We're going to meet our son soon." But she was gone. And the baby, or so he thought. A soft shuffle broke the silence. Alexander didn't notice the small figure approaching. A barefoot boy, no older than 7 or 8, thin and dirty, wearing a too large, filthy blue t-shirt and ragged brown shorts. His skin bore the marks of a hard life, scratches and grime. A homeless child, wandering. Drawn by the sight of the open coffin on the porch, the boy lingered at a distance, eyes wide with curiosity and something else, a strange hope. Slowly, he crept closer, then froze. The baby's chest, it moved. Barely, just a faint rise and fall beneath the blanket. But it was there. The boy rubbed his eyes, looked again, a flutter of breath, a pulse of life. He cleared his throat softly. "Mister?" Alexander didn't respond, lost in his grief, staring blankly ahead. The boy edged forward, voice trembling with urgency. "Mister, your baby, he's alive." Alexander snapped to attention, eyes narrowing. "What?" "I saw him move," the boy insisted, pointing. "He's breathing." His heart pounded like a drum. No, that couldn't be. The doctor said otherwise. They'd signed the papers, given up, but something in the boy's clear, desperate gaze made Alexander stand, stumble to the coffin, and lean in. There it was, the faintest, most fragile rise and fall of his son's chest. His throat closed tight, hand shaking violently as he brushed his fingertips against the baby's cheek. Warm, soft, alive. "Oh God," he whispered, staggering back, mind spinning. How could this be? The doctors were wrong? He turned to the boy, voice choked. "Stay here. Don't move." Fumbling for his phone, adrenaline crashing through his veins, Alexander dialed 911. "My baby is alive." Send help. Now. His legs threatened to give out, but he held onto the porch railing, breathing ragged. The boy just watched quietly, eyes wide. Sirens wailed in the distance. When paramedics arrived, Alexander met them at the door, voice trembling. He's alive. Please, save him. They moved fast, checking the baby's pulse, administering oxygen. The newborn was weak, but breathing. Tom was critical. We need to get him to the hospital. Now, one paramedic said sharply. Alexander climbed into the ambulance, clutching the baby's tiny hand as if it was the only thing holding him to the world. His despair shifted, replaced by a terrifying flicker of hope that the hospital. A team of specialists sprang into action. Machines beeped. Nurses and doctors moved with practiced urgency. Minutes stretched like hours. Finally, Dr. Matthews, the neonatologist, approached. Exhaustion etched into his face, but a hopeful light in his eyes. Mr. Reed, your son was in an extremely fragile state, but we've stabilized him. He's going to make it. Alexander collapsed into a chair, tears streaming, whispering, "My boy." But then a thought cut through the fog. The boy. The homeless boy who'd seen what no one else did. He rushed back to the house. The crowd was gone. The paramedics long since left. But the boy, still there, quietly sitting on the porch steps. Alexander knelt beside him, voice gentle but thick with emotion. "What's your name?" "Eli," the boy whispered. "Eli, how did you know?" "I saw him move," Eli said simply. "I've seen babies before. I knew he wasn't gone." Tears filled Alexander's eyes again as he looked at Eli. Thin, barefoot, clothes torn, dirt smudged across his face that a boy ignored by the world. Forgotten. Yet, somehow, he had saved Alexander's son. "Where's your family, Eli?" The boy looked down. "Don't have one. I sleep out here sometimes. People don't notice me." Alexander's throat tightened. "You saved him," he said softly. "I can never repay you, but I can make sure you're never alone again." He stood, offering his hand. Eli hesitated, then slowly took it. That night, after calls to authorities and child services, Alexander brought Eli home. A warm meal, a hot bath, clean clothes. Things Eli hadn't had in years. The next morning, Alexander returned to the hospital, holding his son, whom he named Benjamin, close to his heart, tears falling freely. "You're here because of him," Alexander whispered. Later, he sat with Eli in the hospital room. "I want you to stay with us if you want to." Eli looked up, eyes shining with a fragile hope. "You mean live here?" "Yeah," Alexander said firmly. "You saved my son. You saved me. You deserve a family." Over the following weeks, Alexander completed the adoption. The man who had lost everything now had not only his son but a second child. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope could find a way in. Together, they healed. Together, they rebuilt. And when asked about that day, Alexander would just smile and say, "It was a little boy, a homeless boy, who gave me back my life." So what do you think? Was this just a lucky miracle, or something more? How often do we overlook the ones society forgets, only to find salvation where we least expect it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take on justice, hope, and the power of seeing someone no one else does. If this story moved you, hit like, share it with someone who needs a little light, and don't forget to subscribe for more real, raw stories that make you think. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.